So, over the last few seasons, the Atlanta Dream have been steadily adding some real game changes to their roster. They drafted Ryan Howard, who the team has just been building around ever since. They traded for Alicia Gray, who might be an even bigger needle mover than Howard. They signed Brittany Griner in free agency, which was probably the Dream's biggest free agency acquisition in team history. And not too long ago, they just added to that list. The Atlanta Dream acquired Angel Reese from the Chicago Sky in exchange for their first round picks in 2027 and 2028. Now, I don't need to tell most of you how huge this is, or the fact that, Angel Reese kind of led the league in rebounds and double doubles this past season, as well as leading the Chicago Sky in points per game and assists per game. And now she's in Atlanta. Her rookie contract ends after this season, though there is an option for 2027, so there's a possibility that Reese stays in Atlanta long term. Not that I want to speculate, but having been a fan of this team since almost year one, you just, when good news happens to this team, you cling to it, all right, no matter how big or small. And in recent years, the news just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, not just for Atlanta, but for the league in general, which is only adding to it. Now, obviously, Angel Reese has absolutely had her share of critics, mostly about her play and her attitude. Her physical complaints, at least the ones that I've heard about anyway, are that, she only gets so many rebounds because she's pulling down her own. Well, to that I say, I'd rather her own rebounds end up back in her own hands than, on the floor or in an opponent's hands. I'm sure you'd feel the same way. Now, regarding her attitude, believe it or not, I can actually understand some of the criticism here. Very few professional athletes in any sport would say what she's said in the past. In fact, here's a quote from last September. "I'm not settling for the same shit we did this year. We have to get good players. We have to get great players. That's a non-negotiable for me. I'm willing and wanting to play with the best, and however I can help to get the best here, that's what I'm going to do this offseason. I am very vocal about what we need and what I want. I like to be here for my career, but if things don't pan out, obviously I might have to move in a different direction and do what's best for me. But while I am here, I'm going to try and stay open-minded about what I have here and maximize that as much as I can. We can't rely on Courtney Vandersloot to come back at the age that she's at. I know she'll be a great asset for us, but we can't rely on that. We need somebody probably a little younger with some expertise, somebody who's been playing the game and is willing to compete for a championship and has done it before." That quote really rubbed a lot of Chicago Sky fans the wrong way. Who else just says openly that they are open to leaving if the front office doesn't get off their ass and make an attempt? Not many that I can name. See, what you got to understand is most sports fans are very old school in their perceptions of players. When you're on a team, that team is the most important thing to you, at least ideally. You play for the name on the front of your jersey, not the name on the back, right? And not to mention calling out her own teammate, calling out especially Courtney Vandersloot, that is not winning her any new fans in Chicago. On the other hand, though, what exactly was she saying that every Chicago Sky fan wasn't already thinking? I mean, obviously they didn't want her to leave, but they were all just, wondering when the hell they were going to see some change. I can't say that I would be upset at that if I was a Sky fan, and I would never blame any Atlanta Dream player if they said something like that or something similar before the Ryan Howard era. Basically, the way that I see it anyway, it feels like to me she was operating under the idea that someone has to say it, right? Players don't typically do that, at least not openly. They'll do it in like a players only meeting or meeting with a coach, just anywhere behind closed doors. But she didn't do that. She just said it. She spoke her mind, and a lot of people just couldn't handle it. Now, me, I like when players do that, actually, for better or for worse. I mean, when players show a little bit of spine, they show a little bit of initiative, and they tell us, what we're all thinking, and just show some damn personality, right? But anytime somebody shows just a little hint of individuality, oh no, they're toxic. They're a locker room cancer. Nobody wants to be around that, right? And 9 times out of 10, it's just wrong. I don't get it. Do fans want players to be themselves or not? I mean, just pick one or the other, right? I mean, do they really want players to have the same basic, boring, cookie cutter answers, or just tell us what they really think? I mean, a lot of fans say that they want players to, stop saying the same old thing over and over again. But when they do deviate from that, you call them toxic and a locker room cancer. Make it make sense. Me personally, I would rather have honesty, even if I don't necessarily agree with it, because at least they're saying something different, you know? And of course, who could forget the time that she didn't make herself available to reporters when her teammate Kennedy Carter did that cheap shot against Caitlin Clark? I say that if players don't want to talk, they don't have to talk. All right, I think I've spoken enough about her attitude, which, obviously to me, it's not really that big of a deal, but nevertheless. Um, Earlier I said I wasn't going to speculate, but maybe I need to do a little bit of speculating. First off, look at the team that Atlanta already has. I mean, it's a fairly solid team last year that made it to the playoffs, even if they lost in the first round. I mean, that was still a pretty halfway decent team. Now add Angel Reese to that. I mean, first off, look at the potential starting lineup. You have Angel Reese, Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard, Brianna Jones, Jordan Canada. I mean, think about that starting lineup and tell me what's not to like about it. Exactly. And not even just the starting five. I mean, look at that bench. Brittany Griner, Tahina Paopao, Mia Coffey. We're not going to have Naz Hillman, but even without Naz Hillman, like, how could you be an Atlanta Dream fan and not be excited at that? How can you be a fan of literally any other team and not pee your pants in fear when you see that lineup? I mean, sure, Angel Reese's shooting opportunities are definitely going to go down some. I mean, look at all the great players around her. But with all the rebounds that Ryan Howard is inevitably going to make, you just know that Reese is going to be all over it. I mean, look, there are any number of ways that this can and probably will work out pretty damn well, but I've already talked for long enough and ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm just really looking forward to this. Um, Speaking of things that, we're really looking forward to, I got to take a slight detour to the Chicago side of this trade. On one hand, they have the worst owner in the league, the worst run team in the entire league, one of the worst run teams in all of major professional sports. And, it shows even in a blockbuster trade like this. I mean, getting two first round draft picks was a pretty damn good move. But I can't help thinking the Sky still kind of got robbed. I mean, some people on the WNBA subreddit are thinking, maybe they should have insisted on taking Tahina Paopao as well. If they did that, maybe I can call this a little bit more fair, but I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. If you're a Chicago Sky fan, like I'm sorry, but I can't call this trade fair necessarily. Now, I know that the Sky are going to have a big overhaul in the next year or two, so they'll look pretty damn differently soon enough. And honestly, I really do hope it works out for them, even as an Atlanta fan. I mean, those players and those fans, they definitely deserve better than what the Chicago Sky ownership is giving them. And one last thing before I finally shut the hell up here. Apparently, Angel Reese didn't actually request this trade, or any trade for that matter. According to Alexa Filippo on Twitter, she says that the Sky worked with her to find a suitable team, and there were no contentions between the Dream or the Sky. So that's good. Reese and the Sky parted ways on relatively decent terms. The Dream got a championship contending starting lineup, and the Chicago Sky do get two first round draft picks. If you look ahead, that's five first rounders over the next three drafts, and I sincerely hope that they make the most of it. I mean, the Dream obviously won this trade, sure, but if the Sky are halfway intelligent with their draft picks and their impending retooling, maybe they could have a winner on their hands. But for now, that's pretty much all I'm going to say here. I've geeked out long enough, at least during this video anyway, and I'm sure you're all tired of hearing my voice. Um, I did want to do a few more videos over the last couple of months. I just haven't gotten around to it. Been busy with work, haven't really felt great the last few months. I just haven't really had a chance to get around to it. Um, but at least here, I know exactly what I'm saying. Angel Reese is a member of the Atlanta Dream. Like, what else is there? I mean, Angel Reese is a member of the Atlanta Dream. And on that note, that reminds me, I have a jersey to buy. The next time I decide to actually get off my ass and do something like this, I'll see you then.